You just turned 18, and the state has already sent you a marriage notice. That's because you've been transported to a world where the male-to-female ratio is 1 to 30. In this world, after a man comes of age, he must marry at least one wife every year. You can find one yourself, or you can have the state assign one to you. Who is worthy of being my first wife? Holding the marriage notice, you paced back and forth in your room. Just then, a pleasant voice came from the doorway. Ah Shang. Open the door for your sister-in-law. You opened the door. An alluring woman walked in carrying a tray of food. She wasn't your actual sister-in-law. She was Yi Shuken, the 9th wife of Li Hongliang from across the hall. Li Hongliang was like a dear older brother to you. When he found out you were an orphan with no one to rely on, he took special care of you, having Yi Shuken bring you meals every day. And as for that, Yi Shuken was always happy to do it. Thank you, 9th sister-in-law. We're all family here. What's with the formality? Yi Shuken spread the food out on the table. After seeing the marriage notice on your desk, she said, choosing your first wife is very important. It affects your happiness for the rest of your life. It's best to find someone a bit older, someone who will dote on you. Someone virtuous. Some girls still have old-fashioned ideas, thinking a man should be exclusively theirs. You can't have a girl like that. As she spoke, she started gathering your clothes, not even leaving out your underwear. You quickly said, 9th sister-in-law. I can wash my own clothes. What are you talking about? What man washes his own clothes? Yi Shuken walked to the window and glanced outside. Cradling your clothes, she whispered like a secret agent. In the green bamboo garden community next door, a boy went into the kitchen just to wash some vegetables. The Women's Federation found out, and the community's rating was downgraded from grade A to grade C. The head of the sub-district office was even fired. A man doing housework has very serious consequences. You must never do that again. I know. You gave a wry smile, thinking to yourself that since you had been transported here, there were still many things about this world you didn't quite understand. After you finished eating, Yi Shuken cleared the tray and cleaned the room until it was spotless. She took out a box and placed it on the table. Ah Shang, this is your coming-of-age gift. The latest model phone, a Pear 26. Why be so extravagant? I already have this phone. Your phone is already half a year old. It's time to throw it out. Besides, this is the plus. Take it. It's a small token from all of us. Alright then, it was hard to refuse such kindness. You couldn't help but think, if you ever got the chance, you had to repay Li Hongliang and his 9 sisters-in-law. They were truly too good to you. Before leaving, Yi Shuken glanced back at you one more time. She said, seemingly out of nowhere, Ah Shang, your body is quite strong, isn't it? It's alright, I guess. I do push-ups every day. That's very good. Back when I was in school, the school required all the girls to practice their squats. After saying this, a hint of shyness appeared on Yi Shuken's face, and she turned and went back to her home. You're utterly confused, with no idea what she actually meant. You don't give it another thought and go back to pondering who you should marry. Soon, one person comes to mind. Ji Yu Ganru. She was your high school homeroom teacher. Ms. Ji Yu was the object of all your adolescent fantasies. Most importantly, she's dignified and elegant, cultured, and has the perfect air of a first wife. And what a coincidence. Just then, Ji Yu Ganru's call came through. Student Shin, you're not planning on going to university, are you? Ji Yu Ganru's voice was soft and gentle. Her voice was like a warm spring breeze. You replied, that's right. I want to focus my energy on the great cause of human procreation. In this world, it's very easy for boys to get into college. The maximum score on the entrance exam is 750 points. Because you're a boy, you automatically get an extra 749 points. However, current customs say that a boy who works is considered indecent. He'd even be accused of not upholding his husbandly duties. The societal consensus is, a real man should be dressed in fine clothes and do nothing at all. If they get really bored, they can go fishing, tend to their flowers, or play some ball. The state even built special recuperation centers for men, where they can get free massages and foot rubs. Student Chin, how ambitious of you, Ji Yu Ganru praised. Nowadays, a lot of boys choose to lie flat and ignore the basic national policy of marrying one woman a year. They're selfish and refuse to marry more women. It's rare to see someone as proactive as you. In that case, please come over for a bit to fill out a questionnaire. If you have trouble deciding, the authorities will use this questionnaire to match you with a suitable wife. You immediately agree. However, the moment you step out of your residential complex, you're instantly locked on by countless stares. Young girls, young women. Their eyes are all glowing with a predatory light, as if they want to devour you whole. After all, men are such a rarity, and on top of that, you're tall and handsome. Holy crap, he's gorgeous. I really want to do wicked things to him. But alas, a god-tier man like him is out of my league. What a waste of this, 7 times a night, gal. My talents are going to waste. Just then, a punkish girl with dyed yellow hair suddenly rushes in front of you. She looks at you with a completely sincere expression. Hey, big brother, you're the most handsome guy I've ever seen in the Dragon Kingdom. My mom's the village chief. Can you give me a baby as a gift? You're stunned on the spot. Give you a baby? I don't have one. But to your surprise, the girl just gives a shy smile. Well, you can start by planting a seed. Whoa, so, you're being hit on in the middle of the street. You immediately adopt the posture of a virtuous young man, and say with stern righteousness, please, have some self-respect. I'm not that kind of boy. After saying your piece, you then strode off. Along the way, you turned down 86 advances and friend-zoned 106 people. Finally, you returned to your alma mater. The banners on campus were still hanging. Endure the harshest of hardships to rise above all others. If you don't study, you'll be the one building the wall that other people get pinned against. The exam hall is a battlefield. Fight for supplies, fight for food, fight for men. You don't want another woman calling the man you like husband, do you? Following the familiar path, you walked straight towards the academic building. Just as you reached the corner of the third floor, a graceful and elegant figure was standing at the office door. It was your homeroom teacher, Ji-Yu Qianru. She was wearing a light gray suit. Her figure was slender, yet incredibly dignified. In that moment, a warmth spread through your heart, and you blurted out, Teacher Ji-Yu. Ji-Yu Qianru politely gestured for you to enter. As you walked past her, you caught a whiff of an intriguing, subtle fragrance. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, you both sat down. Ji-Yu Qianru picked up a file. Her expression was serious. Student Chin. To save time, I'll ask, and you'll answer. Is that alright? You leaned back, sitting confidently. Sure. Excuse me regarding hitting your wife. What are your preferences? Do you punch, or do you kick? Or perhaps, what kind of weapon would you use? Although the question was somewhat bizarre, you still blurted out, I don't hit my wife. The moment you spoke, Ji-Yu Qianru's delicate frame trembled. Her eyes filled with disbelief. She even thought you were hiding something. Student Chin, please answer truthfully. You could only emphasize again, but I really don't hit my wife. Ji-Yu Qianru was completely stunned. There are men who don't hit their wives? Ji-Yu Qianru clearly didn't believe it. She even began to educate you on the bizarre laws of this world. A husband can hit his wife, but he can only break a maximum of 3 ribs at a time. If it's a major bone, then he can only break 1. She even asked considerately, if you enjoy hitting women, we can assign you one with masochistic tendencies. You thought for a moment and said, when I get married, I will definitely marry someone I love. Since I love her, why would I want to hurt her? As soon as you said that, Ji-Yu Qianru was completely dumbfounded. The principle she'd heard her whole life was, after all, beat your wife on a rainy day. Since you're idle anyway, she took a deep breath, and tremblingly asked the next question. On your wife's birthday, what would you do? A. Slap her. B. A woman's birthday is a day of hardship for a man. Teach her to be grateful. C. Wish her a happy birthday. Without any hesitation, you replied, I choose C, of course. Ji-Yu Qianru was shocked again. You have to understand, 99% of men would pick B, because men are the only ones who work hard. They're the ones who toil to ensure humanity prospers. So, of course, a woman should be grateful to a man on her birthday. What kind of weird move is sending blessings? If, on your birthday, you were able to receive your husband's blessings, what a blissful moment that would be. Her heart fluttered in an instant, and her eyes welled up. She then realized that not only are you handsome, but your soul is also so incredibly sensitive. For the first time, she was actually nervous in front of you. She kept pursing her lips and smoothing her hair. She tried her best to put on a good front as she asked the next question. Someone you don't like is pursuing you with expensive gifts. What do you do? A. Accept the gift and slap her. B. Accept the gift and friendzone her. C. Refuse the gift. You thought to yourself, why is there a slapping option again? You answered decisively once more, I choose C. If you don't like her, why would you take her gift? Isn't that just basic decency? To your surprise, Ji-Yu Qianru shot up from her seat. Her face was filled with utter shock. He'd actually pass up a freebie? This man's soul was as pure as snow. She was completely stunned by you. For this question, an arrogant man would choose A. The reason for the slap is because he thinks she's a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. A slap would be to stop her from pestering him further. A more reserved man would choose B. To let her save face. No one has ever picked C. It's been like this for decades. After all, accepting doesn't mean you agree. When a guy accepts a gift, he feels no guilt about it. What's wrong? You felt something was off and looked up. The first thing that came into view were Ji-Yu Qianru's majestic peaks. A line from a poem flashed through your mind. A mountain range from the front, a single peak from the side. Just then, she looked at you. Her heart was in complete turmoil. She was overcome with a powerful urge to turn into a little dolphin and dive into your clear, lake-like eyes, splashing about joyfully. Student Chin, your integrity is something I can only admire from afar. But you just flashed a boyish smile. Not at all. I just think that's the logical thing to do. At that, Ji-Yu Qianru couldn't take it anymore. She clutched her chest and said in a panic, Student Chin, you can fill out the rest of the questions yourself. I need to step out. Then she fled the office in a panic. After spending 20 minutes in the bathroom, she ran out onto the street. She was still reeling from the shock. An irrepressible thought began to sprout in her mind. How happy would I be if I could be with a guy like that? But I don't have a car or a house. I'm completely out of his league. The conflict between her dreams and reality left Ji-Yu Qianru's heart in knots. She wandered the streets like a soulless body. As she passed by a flower shop, she froze for a moment. I gathered my courage and walked in. Excuse me, for a proposal, what kind of flowers should I use? Meanwhile, in the office, you were happily answering the questions. There are 5 types of female body shapes. Pear-shaped, strawberry-shaped, apple-shaped, H-shaped, and hourglass-shaped. Which type do you like? Hourglass. Do you prefer women to wear skirts or pants? Skirts. Do you prefer white stockings or nude ones? I like them both. You answered very seriously, because the purpose of the questionnaire was to satisfy your needs. It was very enjoyable. If all exams had questions like these, it would be amazing. You might even start to like school. Just as you finished the last question and closed the folder, the office door was suddenly slammed open. Ji-Yu Ganru was holding a bouquet of fiery red roses. Her face abnormally flushed as she rushed towards you. You were just about to ask what was wrong, but the next second, thump, she actually dropped to one knee. She raised the roses above her head. Qin Shang, marry me, okay? Even though I don't have a car or a house, and my dowry is only 180,000, I'm willing to spend my entire life. Give you a life of peace and happiness. You were completely stunned. Just then, a mechanical voice exploded in your mind. Host has been proposed to. Activating the Many Wives, Many Blessings system. Beginner's gift pack has arrived. Open now? The system is here. A thought flashed through your mind. Father system, open the beginner's gift pack. Beginner's gift pack opened. Host has obtained the strength of 9 bulls and 2 tigers. The stampede of 9 bulls, the descent of 2 tigers from the mountain. You felt an endless power flowing out from your very core, nourishing every inch of your flesh and blood. Your power skyrocketed. You closed your eyes, savoring the feeling. However, the moment you took with your eyes closed sent Ji-Yu Ganru into complete despair. She thought she had been rejected, and the impulsive courage she had just mustered completely vanished. She collapsed weakly to the ground, overwhelmed with shame. It's a no, isn't it? I was never good enough for you anyway. I'm sorry, I was too rash. Just as her heart turned to ashes, you suddenly crouched down and lifted her chin. I'm willing. Looking at her disbelieving face, you said, word by word. Teacher Ji-Yu, I am willing to marry you. Be my first wife. Overwhelmed with joy, Ji-Yu Ganru instantly burst into tears. Really? She was so moved she was incoherent. The next second, she actually pulled out a card. This is my salary card. From now on, you keep it. You don't have to give me spending money. I can deliver food after work. And you really don't have to give me your salary card. I'm the man of the house. The state gives you a 20,000 yuan benefit every month. You're not short on cash. No way. Women get into trouble when they have money. When a man controls the finances, the family can have lasting peace and stability. Paying no attention to you, she firmly stuffed the salary card into your pocket. You figure, since you're about to get married, there's no need to be so particular about these things. So you drop the politeness and pull her to her feet. Wrapping your arm around her slender waist, you gaze at her intensely. If you want to be good to me, you can't just give me things. She instantly understood, her face flushing bright red. If you want it, and I have it, I'd even give you my soul. I don't want your soul. You lean in closer, and she rises to her tiptoes. She closed her eyes, but just when there was only a centimeter left between you, she suddenly pressed a finger to your lips. Let's get married first, okay? Otherwise, people will call me a bad girl for getting on the bus before buying a ticket. I can't tarnish your innocence as a respectable young man. A warmth spreads through your heart. And let's go get our IDs right now. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. What do you say, classmate Chin? Whatever you say. You let out a mischievous laugh. Why are you still calling me classmate Chin? She lowers her head shyly. Hubby, Teacher Ji-Yu, you're so good. Why are you still calling me Teacher Ji-Yu? Qianru, my love, after you two parted ways, Ji-Yu Qianru rushed home, realizing she had never even given you a single gift. Feeling extremely guilty, she immediately took out her phone and called her best friend, Yun Qian. Qianqin, I'm getting married. But on the other end of the line came her best friend's teasing voice. Oh, honey, what are you dreaming about now? You don't have a car, you don't have a house. What man would want to marry you? But Ji-Yu Qianru announced with a blissful expression. It's true, we're getting registered today. Quick, help me think. What kind of gifts do guys like? On the other end of the line, Yun Qian exclaimed, a guy like that actually exists? He doesn't mind that you're poor? Oh my god, good things happen to good people, my friend. I'm so happy for you. Quick, get him a 5090. A 5090? What's that? It's a graphics card made by that guy who wears a leather jacket. It's amazing for gaming. Oh, okay, I'll take a look. Qianqin, I finally found my person. You need to hurry up, too, okay? I know, After hanging up, Yun Qian was happy for her best friend. But also felt a little bit sad. This city is so big. Who doesn't want a home? She dreamed of finding a man to call her own. Let's smile and watch the clouds drift by, quietly observing the flowers bloom and fall. Unfortunately, with her current situation, she can't afford to support a man at all. If she absolutely had to find one, the only one she could find would have a missing arm or leg, or even have intellectual disabilities. Qianru couldn't have found someone like that, could she? She held her phone, wanting to dissuade her, but then had another thought. There are so few men. Any guy who simply has a nose, eyes, and a mouth is as proud as a little rooster. And my best friend has nothing but her good looks. It's a miracle a man even wants her. Why should I make things harder for her? The thought of the ethereally beautiful Jiyu Qianru having to spend her life with a flawed man made Yun Qian sigh in sorrow. Just then, Jiyu Qianru had already burst through the front door. Where's my ID card? I'm getting married. Aren't you a sworn bachelorette? Gu's mother's eyes were wide with astonishment. To get her daughter married. She had sighed countless times and consulted just as many matchmakers. But Jiyu Qianru had always insisted she'd be single forever. I changed my mind. I'm a believer in marriage now, Jiyu Qianru replied, pulling open a drawer and rummaging through it. She was mainly afraid of being late. Making him wait even one extra minute felt like a cardinal sin. Here it is. Gu's mother took the ID card from a box at the bottom of the wardrobe and asked curiously. What in the world is going on? Jiyu Qianru quickly explained. She stressed, he's not materialistic. I told him the dowry would be 180,000, and he didn't look down on it or try to haggle. I've decided he's the one for the rest of my life. Absolutely not. Looking at her daughter's blissful face, Gu's mother stated emphatically, 180,000 dowry is far too little. Every boy is an angel fallen from heaven. We can't treat him poorly. Even if we have to borrow money, we have to pull together 300,000 for him. She handed the ID card to Jiyu Qianru. It's not easy to find such a wonderful man. Go get your marriage certificate first. As soon as you get it, you need to seal the deal. Don't let the duck in your hand fly away. Seal the deal. Jiyu Qianru immediately blushed, her heart racing. 24 years without a customer. And today was opening day. Qin Shang was 18. Will he know what to do? Should I be more assertive? Or maybe I should buy a movie, and we can watch while we... Too many questions with no answers. Just as Jiyu Qianru's mind was a tangled mess, Gu's mother picked up a case of milk and a box of crackers and walked upstairs with determination. She really didn't want to go, but she had no choice. Giving only a 180,000 dowry for a son-in-law would get her crucified by the neighbors. Sister, what brings you here? Come in, come in. Seeing Gu's mother carrying gifts, son Julian was overjoyed. Of course, she wasn't happy about the gifts themselves, but about the face it gave her. She and Gu's mother were like a second wife and a first wife. They were both married to the same man. Who was Jiyu Qianru's father? Sister Julian, Qianru is getting married. We're planning to give a dowry of 300,000. We're still short 120,000. Do you have some extra cash? Could you lend it to us? We've never asked to borrow before. Mother Jiyu tried hard to keep her voice steady. She had already made up her mind. If she refused to lend the money, then she'd have no choice but to mortgage the property. In any case, she couldn't shortchange her future son-in-law. Of course, big sister, since you've asked, how could I refuse to lend it? Without a moment's hesitation, son Julian transferred the money to Mother Jiyu. Boys these days have high expectations. Have you prepared a house and a car? No, we'll figure something out slowly. The groom's side actually didn't ask for any of that. No house, no car. Just giving such a paltry dowry? Son Julian almost burst out laughing. How pathetic. As the second wife, having been suppressed for so many years, she had long been waiting to see Mother Jiyu make a fool of herself. And now, here's her chance. Big sister, if you need more money, don't hesitate to come and ask me for it. Son Julian offered a few more polite but condescending words before seeing Mother Jiyu out. Son Julian jumped 3 feet in the air, covering her mouth as she laughed uncontrollably. The next second, she pulled out her phone to call her own daughter, Jiyu Fair. Fair, Jiyu Qianru is getting married. That mother-daughter pair are both very proud, and Jiyu Fair made it a point to crush Jiyu Qianru in every single way. One became a branch manager at 23, earning over 20,000 a month. The other, at 24, earns 5,000 and can barely support herself. On the other end of the line, after hearing the gist of it from her mother, Jiyu Fair immediately perked up. With a dowry of just 300,000, what kind of good husband could she possibly marry? He must be hideously ugly. Isn't that the truth? Son Julian slapped her thigh. With her situation, she's lucky to find any man willing to have her. Who knows, he's probably not just ugly, but has some other defect too. I mean, it's obvious. Any man who's even halfway decent, who would choose to suffer alongside her? Thinking of this, Jiyu Fair instantly felt a rush of sweet revenge. She finds an ugly guy, while I find a handsome one. Isn't that a total victory? Fueled by this, Jiyu Fair excitedly shouted into the phone. When her husband shows up, take some pictures for me. I want to see just how ugly he really is, hee. I'm going to laugh about this for the rest of her life. Just then, you also returned to the residential complex. As soon as you entered the stairwell, you saw Yi Shuken struggling to carry a gas canister. She would climb a few stairs, then stop to rest for a bit. Without a second thought, you went over and grabbed the handle of the gas canister. Ninth sister-in-law, let me get that. Who would have thought? Yi Shuken shrieked as if she'd seen a ghost, her face instantly turning deathly pale. Ashang, don't get me into trouble. She trembled. If my husband finds out I let you do this kind of heavy lifting, I'll be drowned in a pig cage. Drowned in a pig cage. You were completely stunned, and all because you were moving a propane tank. You glanced around. I'm not saying anything. If you don't say anything, who's going to know? You tried to lift the propane tank, but Yi Shuken held on tight. She quickly pushed her hand away and whispered, "Be careful, the walls have ears. If someone reports this, my life will be over." Then, she looked at your face, and a hint of delight returned to her eyes. Just knowing you care means more to me than anything. Oh, by the way, Ashang, have you decided who you're going to marry? I have. I came back to get my ID card so I can get married. Hearing this, the corners of Yi Shuken's mouth drooped. She numbly asked a few questions. When she heard you say Ji Yu Qianro was 24, she perked up. So you like older women, huh? I'm 3 years older than you. By the time they reached the 5th floor, she was wiping her sweat with a handkerchief. She called out cheerfully, "Honey, come on out. Ashang has picked his wife. He's getting married today. You've already picked someone? Sounds like you're in a real hurry," Li Hongliang said, opening the door. He teased you for a moment. Even in the heat of summer, he was wearing a black sweater and holding a thermos. Floating inside were red goji berries and black mulberries. His complexion was dull, with dark circles under his eyes and a red nose. His hair was thinning, and his steps were unsteady. He had to lean on the wall, panting with each breath. It was bound to happen sooner or later. It's all for the continuation of mankind, right? You replied jokingly. Li Hongliang said with concern. Men are very fragile. You have to take care of yourself. If she asks for any weird stuff you know, dripping wax, little whips, that kind of thing, you have to say no, you hear me? After saying that, Li Hongliang still seemed unconvinced. He pushed Yi Shuken forward. How about this, let your sister-in-law give you a practical demonstration? How are we supposed to demonstrate that? And with my sister-in-law? Brother Li, you're being way too casual. What are you talking about? When it comes to that, a man is never a match for a woman. How can you go in without any practice? Then, he placed your hand on top of Yi Shuken's. You have to practice. Treat this drill like it's the real thing. Let your sister-in-law test you. And see if you've got what it takes. Yi Shuken's hand was fair and smooth. Just the touch sent a tingling sensation through you. Right now, Yi Shuken had her head lowered, her lips pressed firmly together. Her eyes shimmered with an alluring gaze, her dark pupils shifting slightly. As if she were waiting for something. Because you were so close. You could even feel the sweet warmth of her breath. Brother Li, what are you talking about? Stop joking. Seeing this, you immediately pulled your hand back. The light in Yi Shuken's eyes dimmed, a heartbreaking sight. She said nothing. She gave you a disappointed look, then turned and went back to her room. The atmosphere grew tense. You wrung your hands, not knowing what to do. Ahem. To ease the awkwardness, Li Hongliang coughed a few times. If you don't want to, then forget it. By the way, Ashang, there's something I need your help with. Brother Li, what can I do for you? Just say the word. Whether it was Li Hongliang or his 9 wives, they'd been really good to you. You opened the door. The two of you went into the house, and Li Hongliang immediately collapsed onto the sofa. He let out a long sigh and said, "You see for yourself. My health is getting worse by the day. If I marry another wife, I'd just be condemning her to a loveless marriage. So, I want to ask you to help me fulfill this year's marriage quota. What do you think? In this world, women far outnumbered men. To ensure the propagation of humanity, every man had to marry dozens of wives, so that every woman could have a husband. And every household would be free of resentful women. Men who married were automatically entered into the national welfare system. The benefits were tiered. The more children you fathered, the higher your tier. Li Hongliang had married 9 wives, but hadn't managed to have a single child. His welfare tier was very low. If he married a 10th and still couldn't produce a child, his welfare tier would continue to drop. The reason was simple. 9 acres of barren land and 10 acres of barren land represent different levels of incompetence. As for his health, he had only himself to blame. The state-issued wife marrying guide made it very clear that when marrying wives, it was best to mix beautiful ones with plain ones. That way, a man's energy wouldn't be drained so much. Smart men only married unattractive wives. As the saying goes, a plain wife is a treasure at home. Those men often live to a ripe old age. But him, on the other hand, he married 9 wives, and every single one was a stunning beauty. How could he possibly handle that? And so, not even 30 years old, he was already listless and worn out. Sure, I was thinking of marrying a few more anyway. You agreed in a heartbeat. After all, you had the more wives, more blessings system. The more you married, combined with the superhuman strength the system gave you, handling a few wives was a piece of cake. You agreed just like that? Having someone marry on your behalf was a massive favor. Lee Hongliang never expected you to agree so readily. He was moved. Thank you. My brother, I really can't thank you enough. You have no idea how worried sick I've been these past few days. Here, take this money. Don't say it's not enough. He took 30,000 yuan from his pocket and pressed it into your hand. Basically, no one is willing to be a proxy groom, unless the relationship is exceptionally good. Or they're paid more than enough. After all, the average lifespan for men is dropping every year. Even a fool knows that. Marrying too many women isn't the way to a long life, Brother Lee. I absolutely can't accept that. But there is something I need your help with. You pushed it back and immediately made your request. This way, it was a seamless transition. This gave Lee Hongliang a chance to repay the favor. Just say the word, even if you're asking me to commit murder and arson. Your big bro will get it done for you. Lee Hongliang's face relaxed. He returned to his usual easygoing self. You put on a troubled expression. Brother Lee, I won't lie to you. The first wife I married doesn't have a high salary. And her family isn't well off either. Thinking about my future, for my second wife, I want to marry someone with money. But it's hard to find a rich one. Can you help me look around? You deliberately made it sound very difficult, but in reality, as long as you were willing, marrying a rich woman would be a piece of cake for you. The real goal was to give Lee Hongliang a chance to help out. This big brother of yours is genuinely good to you. You knew that Lee Hongliang himself wasn't that well off, but he was also someone who cared a lot about his pride, so he would never accept money directly. You thought to yourself that this was the perfect opportunity to give him a big red envelope in return later. Little brother, leave this to me. I'll definitely find you a woman who's rich and beautiful. Lee Hongliang was an impatient man and went to ask around right away. After closing the door, you stood in front of the mirror. Looking at your own 8-pack abs, you felt incredibly pleased with yourself. The system's strength of 9 bulls and 2 tigers had reforged your entire constitution. Now, taking on 10 guys would be too easy. Fighting 100 would be no problem at all. You grabbed your ID, humming a song as you headed to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Even though you were a bit delayed, you didn't really mind. You figured that it's actually not good for a guy to be too punctual. A guy who plays hard to get should always be late. He should drag his feet, act all reluctant. This is called having self-respect. Honey, I thought you weren't coming. Seeing you, Ji Qianru covered her mouth in excitement, her eyes turning red. Silly, why wouldn't I come? You had second thoughts, didn't you? I don't have a car or a house. I'm not good enough for you at all. It was hard to tell if she was moved or just lamenting. Tears welled up in Ji Qianru's eyes, wetting her long eyelashes. She reached out and grabbed your arm, like a little girl refusing to let go of her favorite toy. Sensing her attachment to you, you gently wiped away her tears. And said with determination, I told you I'd marry you. And I absolutely will. You were already handsome to begin with. But with the strength of 9 bulls and 2 tigers, you were basically a walking pheromone. The moment you showed up, tons of girls started sneaking glances at you. Seeing you wipe a girl's tears, they were completely shocked. Oh my god, am I seeing things? A man is actually wiping a woman's tears. Isn't he afraid of tiring himself out? Has he forgotten that he's a noble man? He's so oblivious to the social hierarchy. But the most important thing is, he's so handsome. I've already gotten in line. What about you all? I got in line the 3rd second I saw him. I want to have his babies so bad. There are too many thirsty girls around. Some of them are so shameless, they just let their drool run and don't even wipe it. Not wanting them to gawk at you any longer, you grabbed Ji Qianru and walked into the Civil Affairs Bureau. Sir. Hello. According to the latest regulations, for a man to get married, he only needs to bring his ID card. For a woman to get married, she needs to complete a survival pre-test. As a wife, you must cultivate a deep-seated sense of service and responsibility, and a sense of pleasing. I must be able to take good care of my great husband. Hearing this, Ji Qianru immediately grew nervous. She had been single for many years and hadn't had much contact with men. She was terrified she wouldn't pass. Led by the marriage registrar, you and Ji Qianru came to a small room. The test booklet was over a dozen pages long. The first question was, your husband and your mother fall into a river at the same time. Who do you save first? A. Husband. B. Your own mother. Seeing the question, you rolled your eyes. This kind of question is simply meaningless. It's not a test of heart, but of shamelessness. Just answer from your heart. No matter what score you get. I'll still marry you, you said to Ji Qianru. Ji Qianru hesitated for 3 seconds, then chose A. You asked curiously, why? Ji Qianru replied with a serious face. My mom grew up in a fishing village. She can hold her breath for 5 minutes. There's enough time for me to save you and then go save her. Such a practical answer made you burst out laughing. I'll wait for you outside. An hour later, Ji Qianru finally passed the test. Her score wasn't bad, 93 points. But she looked like a first grader who had scored 20 and was afraid of being scolded by her parents. Her eyes were filled with apprehension. Husband, I didn't get a perfect score. That means I'm still too selfish. I will reflect on myself and do my best to correct it. You, however, didn't seem to mind, and said casually. When two people love each other, what's precious is a true heart. Not these formalities. Husband, you're so good to me. In that instant, she was so moved her eyes turned red. Just like that, you received your marriage certificate. Walking on the street, you still felt a little dazed. A bachelor for over 30 years in your past life, you never thought that after crossing over, in the blink of an eye, you had married a beautiful wife. However, Ji Ganru was terrified. She was afraid she wouldn't be a good wife, especially not a proper one. The responsibility was just too great. There was a news story recently. A man divorced his wife on the very day they got married. He said it was because she wasn't cooperative enough. She had no idea how to cooperate to make you happy. After all, it was her first marriage. She had no experience. You held hands and chatted, your voices low. From my mouth, to your ears alone. Whispering intimately. Thinking about her future married life with you, Ji Ganru's cheeks flushed. Even her earlobes and neck turned a soft pink. Seeing this made you feel a rush of heat. You seized the moment, pointing to a hotel and suggesting you go in to rest. This time, Ji Ganru didn't refuse. She nodded, blushing, as soon as you entered the room. Honey, I'm so tired. I'm going to wash my face first. Ji Ganru's face was glowing. She wanted to tell you every little thing she was doing. She, who never knew how to act cute, found herself involuntarily speaking in a sweeter voice. Her voice was just so charming. Go ahead, you said. Ji Ganru went into the bathroom, but a moment later, she poked her head out, her face bright red, and said, Honey, can you come take a look? How does this thing work? You went in and fiddled with it for a bit. Suddenly, water sprayed out of the shower head, drenching you both in an instant. The two of you locked eyes, an endless depth of emotion passing between you. 2 hours later, you stepped out onto the balcony for a smoke. Breathing in and out clouds of smoke, you felt absolutely fantastic. A cigarette after sex better than being a god. Just then, host has completed the marriage procedure. Grade. Excellent. Awakening master-level vocalist talent. In an instant, your mind was flooded with vast knowledge about singing. Classical, pop, rock, electronic, jazz, hip-hop, folk you name it, it was all there. Even the way you breathed had subtly changed. Now, even a cough held a certain beautiful, magnetic quality. You finished your cigarette and went back into the room. You'd barely said 2 words. When Ji Ganru suddenly shot her head up, her eyes wide with shock. Honey, your voice sounds incredible. She even started to blame herself. My husband has such an amazing voice. And I'm only just noticing now. I'm so slow. A mischievous thought popped into your head as the corner of your mouth turned up in a smirk. Sounds good, doesn't it? Want me to sing you a song called, First Taste of Love? Honey, you're so naughty. Her cheeks turned crimson. She was a newlywed, after all. Ji Ganru still wasn't used to such intimate banter. You teased her, my lovely wife, if my being naughty. If I were to report you to the police right now for going against a man's wishes, you'd go to jail, you know. It's for the protection of men in this world. Even if they're married, a husband can still accuse his wife of forcing herself on him. There's no need for any proof. If the man says it was forced, then it was forced. As long as the man changes his story, the woman is guilty and will have to rot in jail. Thank you for sparing me, honey. Although I know you're just joking. Ji Ganru still pretended to look scared. Then, Ji Ganru glanced at her phone and said to you, Honey, come home with me, okay? I'll give you my dowry, Ji Ganru said with a completely serious face. Finding a husband as wonderful as you if I don't part with some money. She'd feel uneasy. You were also thinking about meeting your mother-in-law. So you readily agreed, sure. When you arrived at the entrance of her residential complex, you said out of habit. Honey, wait a second. I'm going to buy some gifts. It's my first time visiting my mother-in-law's house. I have to bring a little something. It's just basic courtesy. But Ji Ganru was shocked. A son-in-law visiting his mother-in-law? Who ever heard of buying gifts? Her eyes widened, her face filled with disbelief. That's my mom, not your mom. You have no obligation to be filial to her. You felt like you were going crazy. You thought you had already changed. That you had adapted to this world. In reality, you hadn't. However, you just couldn't get used to showing up empty-handed. I'll just buy a little something as a token gesture. Under Ji Ganru's grateful gaze, you ran off and bought some tea, fruit, cigarettes, and liquor. The moment Ji Ganru saw you carrying everything, she immediately reached out to take them, her mouth still talking. Honey, your kindness. I'll never be able to repay it. Your heart ached for her, so you wouldn't let her take them. I'll carry them. But she was so anxious she was on the verge of tears, saying in a low voice. If you carry them, people will gossip. You were completely unconcerned. Let them talk. Sure enough, the moment you two entered the complex, the chatter rose and fell all around you. Society is really going downhill. People just aren't what they used to be. A grown woman is actually making a man carry things for her. How shameless. Men are tired enough at home. Making him do physical labor when they're out, too? That's just bullying. That guy is so handsome. Why is he being so subservient? I've seen a two-legged toad before, but I've never seen a man carry things for a woman. You didn't really feel any malice towards them. When you thought about it, they were actually speaking up for you. But they were a bit too gossipy. Seeing more and more people pointing and staring, Ji Yu Qianru looked like she wanted to bury her head in the ground, so you had no choice but to hand the gifts to her. You carry it. Okay, honey. She instantly let out a sigh of relief. The onlookers around them also nodded in agreement. Now that's more like it. A woman should be the one to support her man. But just then, you suddenly stretched out your arms, and in a princess carry, you lifted Ji Yu Qianru right up. Whoa, the jaws of the gawkers around them hit the floor. A few of the older women were so shocked they fell flat on their backs. Ji Yu Qianru's home was on the 12th floor, apartment 1202. Mom, we're home. I brought my husband to meet everyone. Ji Yu Qianru was excited, but also a little shy. However, as soon as the door opened, your future mother-in-law saw you and looked as if she'd seen a ghost. She stumbled back several steps, her jaw hanging open wide enough to fit an egg. She had originally thought that since her daughter had no car and no house, and couldn't offer much of a dowry, she had figured that as long as the son-in-law was able-bodied and had all his features, it would be fine. She never expected that the son-in-law standing before her would be even more handsome than a male celebrity on TV. She stammered as she asked her daughter. He is? Ji Yu Qianru proudly linked her arm with yours. He's my husband. Handsome, right? Too handsome, Gu's mother thought, her heart sinking. This can't be a scammer, can it? Is he going to lure my daughter to northern Myanmar for organ harvesting? But then she had another thought. Being this handsome, does he even need to work that hard to make money? You greeted her politely. Hello, auntie. But that one word, auntie, completely stunned your mother-in-law. She was overwhelmed with flattery. She waved her hands frantically. No, no, no. My name is Wang Choni. You can just call me Choni. Choni. The name was certainly down to earth. It's just that, as her son-in-law, calling your mother-in-law Choni felt a little strange. You just couldn't wrap your head around it. Auntie, how could that be appropriate? You were a transmigrator, after all. The values of your previous world were deeply ingrained in you. You still had some basic respect for your elders. You're right. The name Choni isn't very nice. Then you can call me Little Wang. Little bastard? You were completely speechless. A son-in-law calling his mother-in-law little bastard? Was that even okay to say? In order to find a name you'd be more comfortable with, you had no choice but to put on a stern face and adopt a posture of authority. Auntie, are you telling me what to do? She immediately trembled with fear and waved her hands frantically. No, no, I'm not worthy. It's a miracle my daughter could even find a husband. How could I dare let my son-in-law call me auntie? That's simply treasonous. It's a complete disregard for the hierarchy between a king and his subject. You took a deep breath and decided that when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. If you didn't assume the heirs of the master of the house, no one would feel comfortable. Auntie, please remember this. I'm the man of this house. Please cooperate with me. Okay, just as I thought. The moment you said that, Mother Ji Yu was immediately on your side. Absolutely delighted, she said. Good. We'll listen to whatever our son-in-law says. She even had a look of adoration on her face. She thought that because you can speak a foreign language, you were just incredibly sophisticated. You breathed a sigh of relief and handed her the gift. Auntie, a little something for you. Flattered, Mother Ji Yu took it and immediately started bustling about, pouring tea and getting snacks. She was running around in circles, muttering to herself. Oh, you shouldn't have brought a gift. I'm your son-in-law. It's only right that I show you my respect. Oh, I can't accept that. A son-in-law giving his mother-in-law a gift? Isn't that turning the world upside down? She quickly transferred 300,000 to you. Below it were 2 lines in the memo. Purpose, dowry, type, gift. You immediately said, if you're giving a dowry, then I have to give a bride price. But Ji Yu Qianru and her mother said in unison, absolutely not. What man gives a bride price? That vile, anti-mailed custom went out of style long ago. You had no other choice but to settle for the next best thing. In that case, I'll just give you 3 quilts. There, Mother Ji Yu breathed a sigh of relief. That's still too generous. 3 quilts for 300,000, and your mother-in-law still thinks you're being too generous. Life was really starting to look up. Just then, son Julian walked in. She had come to see the drama. But the moment she saw you, she froze on the spot. I've seen you before. You're that actor from Yilang, right? No, you're 100 times more handsome than him. Mother Gu's face was beaming. She proudly announced, this is our dear son-in-law, Su Shang. Ah Shang, this is your auntie son. Upon learning that you were Ji Yu Qianru's husband, the expression on son Julian's face instantly twisted. It was a chaotic mess. You politely called out, hello, auntie son. That's when she snapped back to her senses. Oh, hello, hello. My goodness. You're so handsome. Can we take a picture together? She was a businesswoman, after all. She quickly composed herself. You didn't refuse. Son Julian took out her phone and snapped several pictures. They didn't chat for long. Son Julian gave you a big red envelope and then left. After getting home, she was shaking with rage. A 300,000 dowry. And she managed to find a husband who's drop dead gorgeous. What kind of incredible dumb luck is that? She collapsed on the sofa, not wanting to move an inch. Just then, her daughter, Ji-Yu Fair, called. Have you seen Ji-Yu Qianru's husband? Just how ugly is he? Does he look like some kind of fish or shrimp, or more like a donkey or a cow? Son Julian said weakly, like a frog. Ji-Yu Fair cackled, so she found herself a toad? He's a frog prince. Son Julian yelled. She sent his photo over. She had only one goal in her life, to beat Gu's mother. And she wanted to crush her in every possible way. But she never expected to fail so miserably in the most important area of all, the son-in-law. On the other end of the line, Ji-Yu Fair, who was obsessed with looks, saw the photo. And immediately screamed, holy crap. His eyes are like a galaxy of stars. He's so my type. The thought of such a handsome man being Ji-Yu Qianru's husband made her want to burn Ji-Yu Qianru to a crisp with an amaterasu. We lost. We lost badly. Son Julian was completely discouraged, but Ji-Yu Fair was stomping her feet on the other end of the line. You have to do something to break them up. The thought of Ji-Yu Qianru finding such a handsome husband makes me want to hang myself. Son Julian just shook her head. Break them up? They're already officially married. It's set in stone. How are we supposed to sabotage that? But Ji-Yu Fair wouldn't give up. Ji-Yu Qianru's salary is low, right? Can't we use that against them? That was indeed a possibility. Son Julian hung up the phone, a vicious glint in her eyes. She immediately dialed 111. Is this the Women's Federation? I want to report a family in the Shuimu Chuncheon community, apartment 1202. They only gave a 300,000 dowry, and they're abusing the husband. I even heard his horrifying screams. And at that moment, you were completely unaware of all this. After chatting for a while, Gu's mother got up to start cooking. Out of habit, you started to go and help. But she blocked the kitchen doorway like a guardian deity. Son-in-law, please, have mercy on me. She had a look of terror on her face. The sacred texts all say that a mother-in-law who lets her son-in-law into the kitchen is doomed to go to hell. Since she put it that way, you had no choice but to give up. Just then, Ji-Yu Qianru suddenly gave you a mysterious smile. Want to come see my room? Sure, come to think of it, in 2 lifetimes. You'd never been in a woman's bedroom before. Ji-Yu Qianru pushed the door open. A light, elegant fragrance instantly wafted out. The room wasn't large. It had a pink 4-piece bedding set and a little teddy bear pillow by the headboard. The whole place had a very girly feel. There were many photos on the wall. Most of them were of her and another girl. The two had completely different auras. Ji-Yu Qianru was like a gentle big sister, while the other girl was a cool, aloof goddess. Both her eyes and her posture revealed a stubborn streak. You asked subconsciously, who's this? A proud look on her face, Ji-Yu Qianru said, my best friend, Yan Qian. She's pretty, right? In terms of looks, Ji-Yu Ganru is prettier. But in terms of who catches your eye, it's Yan Qian who's more eye-catching. But, in front of your wife, you can only say nonchalantly, she's quite nice. To your surprise, Ji-Yu Ganru said casually, she saved my life. It turns out, back in middle school, when Ji-Yu Ganru got tangled up while swimming, it was Yan Qian who risked her own life to pull her ashore. After hearing this, you saw this cold-faced girl in a whole new light. She saved my dear wife. I have to thank her properly when I get the chance. The moment you finished speaking, Ji-Yu Ganru suddenly hugged your arm, her eyes sparkling as she looked at you. Honey, how about you marry her? What the heck? Your mind was instantly buzzing. Best friends? Sharing for life? You quickly shook your head. No way, she's your best friend. Can't I just treat her like a sister? But Ji-Yu Ganru looked completely serious. No, she insisted. You're the best man in the world. If she doesn't marry you, who else would she marry? That heap of flattery felt great, but you still thought it was absurd. You tried to be reasonable. What if we don't have any chemistry? That's simple. You'll know once you meet. I'll arrange it. She threw her arms around you and started acting all cutesy. If you love me, you have to love my bestie. Once she marries you too, the 3 of us can live together. Wouldn't that be wonderful? When your wife puts it like that, what else can you do? Besides, the 3 of us living a good life is better than anything. After that, Ji-Yu Ganru became like a salesperson. She showed you all kinds of beautiful photos of Yan Qian, praising her from every possible angle. You're a soft touch, so you started thinking, well, if that's the case I might as well marry her. In the future, the first wife will manage the household, and the second wife will work the fields. The 3 of us building a home together, what a beautiful picture. Gu's mother was a very efficient woman. In no time, the dining table was filled with dishes. A lamb hot pot, hand-shredded chicken, mantis shrimp. There were so many dishes they were practically piled on top of each other. Son-in-law, you sit in the seat of honor. Oh, I really shouldn't. You're the elder. The son-in-law is the sky. And no matter how respected an elder is, they can't be greater than the sky. Unable to refuse, you took the seat of honor. On your left was your gentle, warm-hearted mother-in-law, and on your right, your charming and passionate wife. You felt like you had reached the pinnacle of your life. So, with the two of them warmly encouraging you, you began to devour everything in sight. You had the strength of an ox, and your appetite was just as enormous. Your mother-in-law looks at you, her eyes filled with admiration. It's good that he can eat. A man who can eat is a man who can work. But you notice a fleeting, almost imperceptible hint of sadness in her eyes. However, just at that moment, a violent pounding suddenly erupts at the door. Ji Yu gets up and opens it. When the door opens, there are 3 uniformed people standing there. The woman in the lead is stout, fair-skinned, and has a commanding presence. She flashes a badge, her voice booming. Hello, I'm Ma Yu-chen, leader of the Haidu City Husband Protection Group. We received a report that someone here is abusing a man. Ji Yu immediately panicked. The Husband Federation has a lot of power. They have independent judicial authority, and she definitely doesn't want to go to prison. Have you and your daughter engaged in any acts of abuse towards a man? If so, confessing now will get you lenient treatment. No, absolutely not. You have a man in the house, don't you? Don't lie. My sense of smell is very keen. I can already smell that enchanting male scent. That's my son-in-law. May I question your son-in-law? Come in. As soon as Ma Yu-chen enters the room, her gaze falls on you, and she says angrily. And you said there was no abuse. Then why is he in a place like this? Swish, swish, swish. The 3 of them simultaneously pull out the rubber batons from their waists. Looking ready for a fight, Ji Yu says angrily. What are you doing? He's my husband. Where did you trick him from? Fess up. Ma Yu-chen doesn't believe her at all, pointing directly at Ji Yu as she asks. He really is my husband. Ji Yu feels incredibly wronged. Ma Yu-chen scoffs coldly. At a time like this, you're still trying to deny the obvious. She pulls a round device from her pocket. This is an appearance tester. 1 scan is all it takes to get an appearance score. Then, she speaks to you in a gentle and polite tone. Sir, would you mind if I scan you? You nod. Ma Yu-chen then points the device at you and takes a scan. The device starts calculating a score. It finally stops at 99.9 points. Everyone present looks astonished. Ma Yu-chen becomes even more self-righteous. There are no more than 5 people in the entire universe with an appearance score this high. With looks like these, he could marry the heir to a trillion-dollar corporation without breaking a sweat. If he wasn't tricked, why would he ever appear in a poor cockroach nest like this? Ji Yu, who thought she was in the right, now turns pale. She's left speechless. She knew you were handsome, but she never imagined you were inhumanely handsome. After hearing what Ma Yu-chen said, she too feels that you truly don't belong in her family's environment. It's as if a prince had come to a slum. As the parent, Ji Yu feels even more ashamed. She lowers her head, fidgeting with the hem of her clothes. Team leader Ma, they didn't trick me. I'm here willingly. You step forward to speak up for them. Ji Yu and her mother both look grateful. Coercing a man into marriage is a punishable offense. It's like you saved his life. Hearing this, Ma Yu-chen put away her rubber baton. She let out a long sigh. To marry so far beneath him is unheard of. She glanced around the room. So, tell me, how much was the dowry? 300,000. The mother and daughter looked incredibly guilty. Ma Yu-chen shot you a pitying glance. In today's marriage market, when an ordinary man marries his first wife, he usually receives a dowry of 880,000. But for someone like Mr. Chin, it should be at least 10 million, to start. She paused, then looked at Ji Yu and her mother, her voice choking with emotion. This failure to provide an adequate dowry, it's a clear case of emotional abuse. Have you ever stopped to think? Every other man gets one. But he didn't. Can you imagine how heartbroken he must be? Wiping away a tear, she continued indignantly. He's only 18. He just became an adult. Like a little flower, just beginning to bloom, only to be abused by you like this. Is there any justice in this world? Is there no law? At that moment, Gu's mother looked like a heinous criminal, staring at her own feet, too afraid to speak. Ji Yu eyes reddened as well. It's not that we didn't want to give more. We really don't have that much. Ma Yu-chen wasn't having any of it. If you don't have money, you can sell your blood. Why didn't you sell your blood? She was like a machine gun, firing one burst. And then another. Were you afraid of the pain? Afraid it would damage your health? Afraid of this, afraid of that? Then you shouldn't have gotten a husband. Ji Yu protested weakly. You wouldn't get much money from selling blood. Anyway, Ma Yu-chen raised an eyebrow. She scanned the 3-bedroom apartment with disgust one more time before speaking in a grave, heartfelt tone. Where there's a will, there's a way. After you sell your blood, you sell a kidney. Is that so hard? You just lack sincerity. At this, Ji Yu fell silent, endlessly reproaching herself. She's so right, how could I not have thought of selling a kidney? Don't you think a husband that good is worth paying for? Ma Yu-chen pressed on, relentlessly. With an insufficient dowry, you can't even hold a proper wedding, can you? And what about a house? It's easy for conflicts to rise when a son-in-law lives with his mother-in-law. Gu's mother immediately stood up. They can have this house. I'll go live under a bridge for now. This world is ridiculous, but I never thought it could be this ridiculous. You couldn't take it anymore. Auntie, what are you saying? This is your home. What do you mean, live under a bridge? You quickly explained. Team leader Ma, my wife and I are very happy. My mother-in-law is wonderful to me. There's really no abuse happening here. After saying this, you took both women's hands to give them some moral support. You had to stop them before they actually went off to sell their blood. You thought that Ma Yu-chen would have nothing left to say. Who knew she would be the one to speak up, saying, Mr. Chin. Often, people who are being abused don't even realize they're being abused. We believe this is your situation. What you failed to consider, we have an obligation to consider for you. For example, your wife is just a high school teacher. She doesn't earn much. How can she possibly provide for you? Without the nourishment of money, a man withers easily. You frowned. In this world, men aren't encouraged to work. It's not that they can't work. On the contrary, if a man is willing to go out and work, his salary will be exceptionally high. No matter what he does, even if it's just waiting tables at a restaurant, his salary would be 5 or 6 times that of a woman's. Thinking this, you blurted out. I can work hard together with her. As soon as the words left your mouth, everyone turned to look at you, their gazes filled with astonishment. As if you were some kind of monster. Ma Yu-chen's voice rose even louder. Listen to what he's saying. If he weren't being abused, how could a man say something so absurd? It's always been women who provide for men. What's this nonsense about working hard together? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You froze, realizing you had broken an ironclad rule. In this world, there are plenty of women with money who can't even find a man to provide for. For a man to go to work implies his woman is incompetent. Many women's husbands get poached by other women at the workplace. Therefore, married women are the most opposed to men participating in the workforce. Son-in-law, you mustn't get any foolish ideas. Immense shame swept over Gu's mother. She started to cry. I have a nursing certificate. Starting tomorrow, I'll go work as a caregiver. I'll make sure our son-in-law lives a life free of worries. Ma Yu-chen nodded. An excellent caregiver can make 20,000 a month. That's over 200,000 a year. While it's not a lot, it's enough to buy a few luxury items. She looked at Ji-yu Ganru. Teacher Ji-yu, what about you? Are you just going to stand by and watch your husband suffer in a vortex of poverty? And do nothing? A vortex of poverty? Your gaze fell on the 8 dishes and 2 soups on the table, and you felt a wave of speechlessness. This freaking counts as poverty? What kind of ridiculous standard is that? Many hands make light work. I'll have my best friend marry my husband. The 2 of his sisters will work hard together and strive to let our husband live a good life as soon as possible. Ji-yu Ganru knew her own abilities were limited, so she had no choice but to seek outside help. Although Yenqing's own earning potential isn't strong, Yenqian is gentle and beautiful. She can at least provide emotional comfort. Besides, the 2 sisters can also encourage and push each other. Seeing that the mother and daughter's attitudes were cooperative, Ma Yu-chen jotted something down in her notebook and then said, that is one solution. However, we don't know if you can do it. Therefore, after a while, we will come back to see if you're all talk and no action. If Mr. Chin's quality of life does not improve, we will be forced to terminate your marriage. Ji-yu Qianru was full of fighting spirit. We welcome your supervision. She had already calculated many of the details. Yan Qian would have to spend money on rent if she lived outside. She'd have to spend money on food. But if she married her husband, all of that could be saved. Besides, Yan Qian has some savings of her own. Since I happen to be short on cash, I'll just have her pay for it. Before leaving, Ma Yu-chen gave you a business card. Mr. Chin, whether you suffer any physical or mental harm, please contact us anytime. We suggest that you marry more wives. Genes as handsome as yours are a gift to all of humanity. If they aren't passed on, it will be a loss for all of humankind. You replied with a serious expression. I will do my best. Thank you for your hard work. After bowing to you, Ma Yu-chen turned and left with her subordinates. The food on the table was still delicious, but the atmosphere was nothing like it was at the start. Ji-yu Qianru and her mother were like children who didn't get a gold star, punishing themselves by refusing to eat. You pulled them both down to their seats and comforted them. Auntie Qianru, don't you two worry about this anymore. I'll figure something out. Gu's mother placed a piece of beef in your bowl. Son-in-law, for you to even think like that, it must mean we really have been mistreating you. This is what they call Stockholm Syndrome. Ji-yu Qianru grabbed your hand. Honey, just let us try, just this once. I really don't want to lose you. Is this the top-tier version? Freaking hell. It's completely impossible to communicate with them. Gu's mother shoveled the rice from her bowl into her mouth in a few big bites. Went to her room, changed into a work uniform, and marched off to her nursing job, full of spirit. Ji-yu Qianru secretly made a phone call, then said to you with a beaming smile. Honey, I've already contacted Yun Qian. You should go on a date with her. On the very first day of your marriage, you were being told to go on a date with your wife's best friend. You felt like Tang Sanzang in the kingdom of women. You waved your hands again and again, saying, "No, I really can't. Me and your best friend if we're fated in the next life, then perhaps." Thump. Before you could even finish your sentence, Ji Qianru dropped straight to her knees, tears streaming down like rain. Honey, I'm begging you. You had just turned 18 when the state sent you a notice to marry. This was because you had been transported to a world where the male-to-female ratio was 1:30. In this world, after coming of age, men had to marry at least one wife per year. You could find one yourself, or you could have the state assign one to you. In this world, best girlfriends all like to share the same bed for life. On the very first day you got your marriage certificate, your wife, Ji Qianru, said to you, "Honey, I've already contacted my best friend, Yun Qian. Go on a date with her." You're completely stunned. Today was supposed to be the day you two get your marriage license. She actually wants you to go on a date with her best friend. You wave your hands, refusing. This is wrong. But before you can even finish your sentence, Ji Ganru suddenly drops to her knees in front of you, tears streaming down her face. Her voice is filled with desperation. "Honey, I know you're a man of high morals, but the husband union said, if I can't provide you with a high-quality life, they'll annul our marriage. You don't want to see our marriage fall apart, do you?" Seeing her so utterly helpless, you finally gave in and reluctantly nodded. "All right, I'll do it." Ji Ganru's tears turned to a smile. She affectionately saw you out the door. Meanwhile, in a coffee shop across town, your date, your wife's best friend Yun Qian, didn't believe a word Ji Ganru said. Fortunately, she wasn't expecting a handsome husband anyway. As long as he was a normal guy, she could accept it. Just then, a round-faced woman approached. This was Feng Wan, a talent scout from Ruida Entertainment. She sat down, crossed her arms, and said, "So, have you thought about it? Are you going to join Ruida Entertainment? If you join us, I guarantee you a spot in the main competition of King of Tomorrow's Singers." But Yun Qian refused flatly. "No way, are you kidding me? Ruida Entertainment takes a 90-10 cut. Joining them is basically selling yourself into slavery." Seeing her refusal, Feng Wan's face instantly darkened. She began her verbal assault. "Yun Qian, you're already 26, right? If you don't start earning some real money soon, you'll never find a husband." Yun Qian just gave a cold laugh. "I'm actually here to meet a man today. And if I want to, I can get married right away. And not as a mere concubine, either, but as a secondary wife. According to marriage law, there are 3 classes of wives: the primary wife, the secondary wife, and the lower wife. Anyone below that is just a concubine. Even though a secondary wife isn't the main one, she still has status and is entitled to be called honorable titles like Madam." Feng Wan's eyes were full of contempt. She rolled them knowingly. "With your current financial situation, any man you find will surely be very ordinary." The corner of her mouth lifted in a sneer. "You'll never know how wonderful it is to live with a handsome man." Yun Qian retorted disdainfully, "Handsome doesn't put food on the table." Feng Wan's lips curled. "But handsome men are so pleasing to the eye. Just looking at them makes you happy." Halfway through her sentence, the smile on Feng Wan's face suddenly froze. And it wasn't just her. The entire coffee shop instantly fell into a deep silence. Everyone followed her gaze. The next second, everyone's jaws collectively dropped. Holy crap, how can a man that handsome even exist? The women around them instantly erupted, chattering and arguing. "He's looking at me. He must be into me." "Looking at you? To count the freckles on your face? He's clearly looking at me." Even Yun Qian, who just a moment ago said that good looks can't put food on the table, was now too stunned to speak. And the man who walked into the coffee shop, causing a sensation throughout the room, was none other than you, arriving for your appointment. In this world, most handsome men are so sheltered that they often appear fragile. On top of that, they use more makeup than women, giving them a very effeminate air. But you were completely different from those overly powdered pretty boys. You exuded masculinity. You were filled with a dominant aura. Your jawline was sharp, as if chiseled by a master sculptor. It outlined a devastatingly handsome profile. Yun Qian was completely mesmerized. She secretly swallowed several times, but Feng Wan, sitting beside her, took the opportunity to pua her. To a poor girl, a man like that is a god. To the rich, he's just a plaything. Someone you can pick up and use whenever you want. As long as you join our Ruida Entertainment, you'll get a chance to have your own little plaything one day. Yun Qian was just embarrassed. She immediately cut her off. "Men are not playthings. Show some respect." As she spoke, her gaze was glued to you, following your every move. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. She suddenly realized you were walking straight toward her. In that instant, she froze, unable to move, her heart pounding wildly. The next second, your magnetic voice sounded beside her ear. "Hello, are you Miss Yun?" The devastatingly handsome man was actually speaking to her. Yun Qian was both shocked and flattered. She shot up to her feet, stammering, I'm Yun Qian, how do you know me?" The look in her eyes was one of a starstruck fan meeting their hero for the first time. You introduced yourself coolly, I'm Qin Shang. After you spoke, your gaze swept over Yan Qian. And you couldn't look away. This woman's eyes were like stars. Her eyebrows like wisps of smoke, and her face had a delicate, classical beauty. Her tall, slender figure was exactly your type. You're Ji Qianru's husband? Yan Qian clasped her hands together in disbelief. She was completely dazed. Oh my god, the man Ji Qianru wants me to marry is actually him? If I could have him by my side, I would have no regrets in this life. You nodded, yes. Just then, Feng Wan excitedly licked her lips and leaned in. Yan Qian, how about you introduce this handsome guy to me? The other women around them also began to stir, all thinking that Yan Qian was just a poor, simple girl. Her man would be easy to steal. But Yan Qian's gaze turned sharp as she said, you're not worthy. After saying that, she slung her instrument over her back. She grabbed you and started to leave. Qin Shang, let's talk outside. But Feng Wan wasn't ready to give up. From behind, she shouted emotionally, but I really like him. Yan Qian didn't even look back, her words as sharp as a sword. Bullshit, you call that liking him? You're just lusting after his body, you thirsty girl. After leaving the coffee shop, the two of you walked to a small path by the river. Yan Qian finally couldn't help but ask the question that had been weighing on her mind. Why are you looking for a poor woman to be your wife? You just smiled faintly. Because I like her. It's that simple? Yan Qian's heart was completely shaken. A man who isn't materialistic is practically a rare treasure. But then, she immediately remembered her own unspeakable secret. Her eyes instantly dimmed as she stared at the shimmering surface of the river. Her sorrow felt overwhelming. Qin Shang, Qianru wants to set us up. I've thought about it. I can't marry you. You found this very strange. This girl obviously likes you, so why would she refuse? You couldn't help but ask, do you have a boyfriend? Yan Qian immediately retorted, I've never had a boyfriend. Then, she abruptly pulled away from you. Her gaze drifted away. I'm an unlucky woman. I can't risk your life just for my own happiness. You were completely confused. What do you mean? Yan Qian fidgeted with her hands, finally revealing the secret that had made her feel insecure for so many years. I'm a jinx to my husbands. Your curiosity was intensely piqued. Just as you were about to ask, Yan Qian shot you a longing glance. Then she whipped her head away, her voice rising an octave. It's not like you're that great anyway. Other than being handsome, you're completely useless. Was she trying to pick a fight? Seeing her trying to hide her true feelings, you couldn't help but smile. You retorted playfully, hey, that's no way to talk, missy. The corner of Yan Qian's mouth curved up, and her eyes crinkled into crescent moons. Her voice turned flirtatious. Who are you calling missy? So what if I said you're useless? I can sing. Can you? Hearing this, you laughed on the spot. I might not be good at other things. But when it comes to singing, you just so happen to have awakened a master-level singer's talent. To turn her impression of you around, you spread your hands. If you can do it, why couldn't I? Yan Qian immediately took the bait. Let's have a competition. If you lose, you have to promise me that you won't bully my best friend. The corner of your mouth twitched. You shot back, and what if you lose? She answered without a moment's hesitation, if I lose, I'll do anything you want. Then, she walked over to a bench under a weeping willow and carefully wiped it again and again with a tissue. Only then did she let you sit down. Such tenderness. Ripples spread through your heart as you obediently sat down. You watched as she took a walnut guitar from its case. The setting sun pierced through the woods, shining on her fair, swan-like neck, making even the fine hairs glow with a golden light. In that instant, you were struck by this breathtaking beauty. Her heartbeat completely lost its rhythm. The next second, she was holding the guitar, her eyes lowered. Her cherry lips parted slightly, and sweet notes danced in the air. She sang Chen Li's Xiaoban with a sweet, lingering charm, instantly pulling you into a world of youthful romance. When the song ended, she had a proud look on her face. Her eyes shimmered. Your turn. You looked out at the rippling water as the loneliness of your past life flooded your heart. Then, a song flowed out from you. When you walk into this joyful place, carrying all your dreams and aspirations. Faces of all kinds, with makeup of all kinds. The moment you opened your mouth, the pride on Yan Qian's face began to peel away like old paint. At first, her mouth fell open in surprise, but she was soon completely immersed in your angelic voice. After graduating from college, Yan Qian had remained an unknown. But, in her bones, she knew she was good. Better than many of her peers. And definitely better than the men who received all the special treatment. She was just missing an opportunity. But now, she was completely crushed by you. She was even more deeply shaken. The bittersweet melancholy in this song. She never imagined you would have this side to you, let alone sing it so incredibly well. What an interesting and rich soul you have. The song faded away. Tears were already streaming down her face. Wiping them away, her eyes were filled with fervent adoration. Whose song is that? How have I never heard it before? At this, you remembered. In this world with more women than men, many artistic works by men simply didn't exist. So, the corners of your mouth turned up, revealing a bright smile. You said with complete confidence, "I wrote it myself." Incredible. Yan Qian clutched her chest. Then she said urgently, "The third season of King of Tomorrow's songs is about to start. If you compete, you'll definitely become famous." But you just shook your head. You know how it is. A man who goes out to work is considered unfaithful to his husbandly duties. To appear on the big screen. Wouldn't it be like putting myself on display for any woman to have? Yan Qian's heart ached for you in an instant. He could clearly rely on his talent, yet he was forced to rely on his looks. This was a true case of unrecognized talent. Her eyes darted about. Suddenly, her face flushed red. This song, can I use it? This song, she was certain she could pass the auditions. It was just that she would be taking too great an advantage. You nodded generously. You can, but don't tell anyone I wrote it. She immediately raised 3 fingers and swore, "I will never tell a soul. If I do, may I be struck by lightning." You watched her adorable expression, looking so serious as if she were daring lightning to strike. You crossed your legs with a grin. "So, who won and who lost between us?" Yan Qian hurriedly asked. "Of course, you won." You immediately followed up. "Do you remember what you said? If I lost, you'd do anything I asked." Yan Qian's cheeks instantly flushed crimson. She unconsciously hugged her guitar tighter, shrinking back. You leaned in slightly. The strong masculine scent from you was so overwhelming it almost took her breath away. You lowered your voice and asked in her ear, "I want to know. Why do you say you're a jinx to your husbands?" This was her biggest secret. It instantly made her whole body tense up. A blush spread from her ears down to her collarbone. Her nails dug deep into her flesh. It was just too humiliating. If she told him, would he laugh at her? How could she ever bring herself to say this damn secret out loud? But as a woman, she couldn't go back on her word. Yan Qian bit her lower lip as she opened her phone and pulled up a picture. She abruptly turned her head away, only pointing the screen at you. Her voice was as faint as a mosquito's buzz. "I'm this." You took one look. It suddenly clicked. So that's what it was. Just as Yan Qian was so ashamed she wanted to find a hole to crawl into, your gentle voice sounded like a gift from the heavens. "I understand, but I don't think there's anything bad about it at all. On the contrary, I think it's a gift from the Creator. A unique kind of beauty." She looked up, unable to believe her ears. Her eyes filled with tears. "But, everyone says it will jinx my husband." You laughed right then and there, your face full of disdain. "That's ridiculous. It's not like this is the Dark Ages. What's there to be afraid of? Only a fool would believe that." Her casual words instantly lifted the heavy burden from her heart. This man was impossibly handsome. The next second, she put down her guitar. She actually got down on one knee, the movement smoother than silk. "Qin Shang, you must be the only person in the world who doesn't mind. Can I marry you?" The surprise came too suddenly. You were completely stunned and bewildered. You subconsciously thought of your other wife. You blurted out, "Jiu Qianru is your best friend. Is that really okay?" But who knew? A newly confident Yan Qian replied with a bright, crisp smile, "It's great. I love big families. I have 7 sisters at home. We always had to fight for our food at mealtimes, and it was so delicious." She said it in a way that left you completely unable to argue. You finally caught your breath. "All right, in that case, I accept. Thank you, hubby." Yan Qian was so overjoyed she leapt to her feet and shouted at the setting sun. "I have a husband now. He is the wind, and I am the sand. We'll travel the world together." Just when you thought things were settling down, she grabs your hand, her expression solemn. "Husband, please forgive me, but I can't marry you right away. Because right now, I don't have a house, a car, or a dowry. I can't let people make fun of you for marrying a poor girl." Her gaze is resolute as she makes a promise. "I'm going to earn money. A lot of money. I'll buy you a big villa, and I'll buy you a sports car. And when that time comes, I'll marry you in style." Feeling her sincerity, you are deeply moved. So you nod and agree, whatever you say. As dusk falls, you part reluctantly. As you walk back, you immediately call Jiu Ganru. "My dear wife, what are you up to?" On the other end of the line, you hear her sweet and excited, breathless voice, "Husband. I'm delivering food. I've already made 5 deliveries. I've earned 23 yuan. That's enough to buy you several chickens." Hearing this, your heart aches for her. You finally have a day off. "Why aren't you resting?" Your casual question makes her choke up on the other end. "Husband, are you worried about me? Boo-hoo for you to be like this. I'd do anything for you willingly." How many husbands in this world actually care about their wife's life? Jiu Ganru just feels so lucky. After all, even the experts say, a wife has a duty to support the family, but a husband has no obligation to provide emotional support. But her own husband is actually willing to give her emotional support. He's so kind. You're a little unused to this. So you joke, "I'm just worried you'll get so tan you'll look like you're from Africa. And I won't be able to recognize you." She immediately replies in a syrupy, sweet voice. "Oh, husband, you're so funny. I love it. Your heart warms, and you immediately extend an invitation. Wifey, come over to my place tonight and watch the hollow circle ring, okay? You thought she'd be overjoyed, but to your surprise, she hesitates and declines. Husband, I want to go, too. But my mom said that living together before the wedding will ruin your reputation. You get anxious. Then what do I do when I miss you? She soothes you gently from the other end. Just be patient a little longer. Once we have the wedding, we can be together openly and properly. There's nothing you can do. You can only go along with it. Then, you say to Ji-Yu Ganru, wifey, I met with Yun Jai. She proposed to me, but she wants to work hard for a while before getting married. The moment the words leave your mouth, Ji-Yu Ganru instantly becomes as alert as a cheetah. That wench. Is she trying to one-up me with her dowry? Husband, I'm going to go teach her a lesson. With that, she hung up the phone. The next second, Ji-Yu Qianru's call came through to Yun Qian. You little minx. Are you trying to one-up me with your dowry? Managing a harem starts with getting you under control. But to her surprise, Yun Qian was in a great mood. She playfully scoffed at her bestie. A 300,000 dowry is way too shabby anyway. Ji-Yu Qianru's chest heaved with anger. I was the one who introduced our husband to you. If I hadn't, you wouldn't have him. Aren't you grateful? Grateful for what? My husband and I were destined for each other in a past life. Jing is my husband. Seeing she couldn't win the argument, Ji-Yu Qianru immediately put on the airs of the first wife, even though they weren't married yet. You're a member of this family now. Women get corrupted when they have money. Now, please hand over your funds. To the family committee, Yun Qian burst out laughing on the spot. Ji-Yu Qianru, have you lost your mind? I don't even have a proper job. Where would I get any money? However, Ji-Yu Qianru dropped a bombshell. I'm not using it for myself. It's to buy our husband a 5,090. Ji-Yu Qianru had already looked it up. A 5090 costs 19,000. And that was the price after reduction. Her salary card and savings had all been given to you. She only had a few hundred left, which wasn't nearly enough. Hearing this, Yun Qian was stunned. You haven't bought our husband a 5090 yet? That's right. Our husband is still using a 4090. The poor thing. The thought of him lagging while playing AAA games, Yun Qian couldn't sit still anymore. I'll send you the money right now. We can struggle, but our husband can't. After a few quick taps, she directly transferred the money. Ding! The funds arrived. Ji-Yu Qianru took a look. 25,642 yuan. She was instantly baffled. Why such a specific amount? Don't give it all to me. You have to leave some money for food. But Yun Qian spoke with great conviction. That's where you're wrong. When hungry, one can eat the grass on the roadside. When thirsty, one can drink from the ditches. We women can survive anything. We can't let our man suffer. Our husband doesn't even have a 5090, yet I'm hoarding money for myself? Dressing in fine silks and eating delicacies every day. Filling my belly with treasures. Such extravagance and indulgence. Is it not shameful? Although Ji-Yu Qianru didn't understand the classical prose, she felt it made a lot of sense. If her husband wasn't happy, it was the wife's disgrace. So she asked again, but the 5090 only costs 19,000. There's over 6,000 extra. She wanted to transfer the money back. But Yun Qian had another speech ready. Silly, just buying a 5090 isn't enough. He also needs a top-tier CPU for the perfect combination. You don't want our husband getting headshotted by the enemy because his computer is slow when he's gaming, do you? Those words really hit home for Ji-Yu Ganru. She instantly grew anxious. I'll go buy it right now and give him a surprise. Then you'd better hurry. The electronics market is all the way out on the 4th Ring Road. It'll take a lot of time to go there and back. It wouldn't be good to delay our husband from using his new graphics card. Let's go. Just thinking about how happy he'll look when he receives the gift. Ji-Yu Ganru was filled with motivation. She hopped on her little electric scooter and sped off. You had just turned 18 when the state sent you an official notice to take a wife. That's because you've been transported to a world where the male-to-female ratio is 1 to 30. In this world, once a man comes of age, he must marry at least one wife every year. He can find one himself, or let the state assign one to him. In this world, as long as a woman finds a husband, she can be exempt from a large portion of taxes. At the Ruida Entertainment Group, chairwoman Bai Zhenyao was incessantly rubbing her temples. All because she wasn't married. The company had to pay over 20 million more in taxes this year. Because of this, the board of directors had major objections. Looks like I have to find a husband, and fast. But finding one I actually like is so hard. Wishful thinking gets me nowhere. Might as well go try my luck. With her mind made up, she called her personal secretary, Zhang. Accompany me on a trip to the matchmaking park. The two of them sat in her Maserati. The moment they drove out of the company, they drew the gazes of countless men. In this world with a 1 to 30 male to female ratio, a man could maintain a comfortable lifestyle without doing a thing. But becoming truly rich and powerful, now that was difficult. Therefore, many men viewed marriage as a stepping stone, as a second shot at being born. They all dreamed of marrying an heiress to ascend to the heavens in a single step. It's just a pity that clueless rich girls were so rare. The vast majority of heiresses are savvy people. They already have everything, so their standards for affection are that much higher. Without a doubt, Bai Zhenyao was exactly that type. Go withdraw 100,000 yuan for me. The pin is 6 sixes. The Maserati stopped in front of a bank. Bai Zhenyao handed the bank card to Secretary Zhang. Secretary Zhang was extremely efficient. She withdrew the money, got back in the car, and asked, Chairwoman Bai. We use electronic payments for everything these days. What do you need cash for? You'll find out in a bit. Bai Zhenyao maintained her confident and composed expression. Soon enough, they arrived at the matchmaking park. The place was bustling with a constant stream of people coming and going. The majority were women, with about 10% of them being on the younger side. The rest were mostly middle-aged and elderly women, there to find husbands for their own daughters. There were barely any men, and the few who were there were mostly elderly. Their beards were white, and they'd lost almost all their teeth. They had already lost their reproductive value. The information of the spouse seekers was either taped to the walls or displayed on the ground like stalls at a market. The competition among the women was raging. There was no shortage of excellent candidates. Some even had annual salaries of hundreds of thousands, or even millions, and on top of that, owned a house and car in the city. Naturally, with such good qualifications, their requirements were also a bit higher. For example, some demanded an exclusive 30% of the husband's nightly attention. Some required that the man not hit them more than 30 times per month. Others demanded a monthly allowance of over 800 from the man. As for the women whose conditions weren't as good, their requirements were extremely low. Basically, as long as he was a man, it was fine. A bit short, a bit poor. None of that mattered. What they cared about most was the man's age. After all, if he was too old, the blessings they could receive each month would be too few. It was like being a widow while her husband was still alive. In the corner, on the utility poles, there were also some small ads. The headlines were often, just 3 million. Get yourself a fine son. Below that was a detailed introduction. Tall, handsome, and beautiful man, Wang Debiao. 20-something years old, with a strong physique. Powerful in the lower regions. To help my fellow women achieve their dreams, I'm offering a special son granting service. All it takes is a 300,000 deposit, and I can meet with you secretly. Once you've conceived a fine son, you pay the remaining 2,700,000. Serious inquiries only. These were basically all scams. They'd take the deposit and run off. They were exploiting women's desire for a son. In this world, if a woman had a son, she could live very well just by relying on his welfare benefits. Walking further inside, she started to see profiles of men. Bai Zhenyao looked at a few and couldn't help but complain. What the heck? A pockmarked face, a height of 1.6 meters, weighs over 200 pounds, and not only does he demand a house and a car, he also wants a dowry of 880,000, and the gold and silver jewelry can't be less than 66 pounds. Is your golden hoop rod encrusted with diamonds? You're just making wishes here. This one straight up says he has a bad temper. If you have a bad temper, then change it. What's there to brag about? This next one is even more ridiculous. He says he's slow to warm up. You're already here for a blind date. What the heck is slow to warm up? How about I toss you in a fire pit to warm you up? Geez, this one is even more unbearable. He's beaten over 500 women and still thinks that's very masculine. With my explosive temper, and these are all for matchmaking. You can see the difference just from the profiles. Men often list their own shortcomings. Things like bad temper, slow to warm up, hits people, doesn't bathe, gluttonous, especially the ones who are a little bit handsome. It's like they wrote down every single human vice. They had a completely superior attitude. This is just how I am. It's on you to see if you can tolerate it. If you can't tolerate it, you don't deserve me at all. If you have a problem with that, I suggest you open your eyes and see the world. Women, on the other hand, listed their strengths. Family background, education, salary, gentle and considerate, works hard without complaint. Willing to give, won't hit back when beaten. They wanted to gain men's approval, so naturally they were in an extremely weak position. For crying out loud, they really think of themselves as little princes. Bai Zhenyao muttered resentfully as she led Secretary Zhang further inside. It was incredibly noisy up ahead. It didn't matter if they were young girls, married women, or even old ladies. They were all holding up their phones, filming non-stop. Oh my god, he's so damn hot. Let me get a picture. I could live off this photo for the rest of my life. I'm totally willing. Hey, let me sign up. Why does he even need a car or a house? Once you turn off the lights, a shack and a mansion are all the same, aren't they? Bai Zhenyao immediately sized up the situation. There had to be a ridiculously handsome guy in there. But, with so many people, there was no way she could get in. An idea flashed in Bai Zhenyao's eyes. She carried her handbag over to an empty space, took out a stack of bills from her bag, and threw them into the air. Instantly, the cash scattered like flowers tossed by a goddess. Secretary Zhang immediately knew what she was doing. He started shouting, "Hey, everyone. Come on, hurry. Somebody's making it rain over here." There were so many people that some of them didn't see the money. They thought he was cursing at them and retorted, "Who are you calling an idiot?" Bai Zhenyao's face fell on the spot. Couldn't he have just said throwing money? Why did he have to say that? Secretary Zhang hurriedly explained, "What's wrong with your ears? I said she's throwing cash, not that you're trash." Just then, the crowd saw the money. They all scrambled over to pick it up. Bai Zhenyao had thrown a full 50,000. She squeezed out of the crowd and, in a single glance, saw the man sitting by the flower bed. He was wearing sunglasses and didn't look very old. You could tell he was all style and no substance. But what caught Bai Zhenyao's attention was the life-sized cutout next to the man in sunglasses. The man on it had sharp, sword-like eyebrows and eyes as bright as stars, with a face as perfect as carved jade. He had the bearing of the sun and moon, the posture of a dragon and phoenix. He was inhumanly handsome, drop-dead gorgeous. Now this is what I call handsome. Bai Zhenyao practically drooled. She wished she could just pull him into her arms and call him her sweet little darling. Li Hongliang arrogantly held up a sheet of A4 paper. Handsome, right? But our standards are high, too. Not just any woman is worthy of laying a finger on my little brother. Written on the paper was, of course, Qin Shang's personal information, as well as the requirements for his second wife. Her name must be added to the house deed. The car must be a BMW or better, and the dowry is 1,880,000. Here's 50,000 yuan for you. Let's find a quiet place to talk privately. Bai Zhenyao handed the handbag straight to him. Li Hongliang opened it and took a look. His face immediately broke into a grin. While the others were still busy picking up money, the three of them quickly left the park. But what they didn't expect was that a man like Li Hongliang would be stopped before he even reached the gate. A group of women surrounded him. "Hey, handsome, are you looking for a wife? My family has a villa, you know. Marry me, and you won't have to lift a finger for the rest of your life. Just live the good life. I don't just work hard, I also work out. I like to do yoga, so I'll absolutely never let my beauty depreciate. Take a look at my daughter's picture. Are you satisfied? She works at a state-owned enterprise. It's an iron rice bowl. They wouldn't even let go of someone like Li Hongliang, who's obviously sick." These women are really desperate. Intentionally or not, they were still pulling and tugging at Li Hongliang. They practically wanted to drag him home to get married. Li Hongliang had no choice but to use his ultimate move. And you know what? It was actually quite effective. Whoosh! More than half of them scattered. One of them, who was round as a ball, an older, unmarried woman with small eyes and very little white in them, directly grabbed Li Hongliang's clothes. "Doesn't matter. As long as our souls can connect, we can have a platonic love." Li Hongliang smacked his lips. The taste was just so bitter. "Ma'am, I am a shell without a soul." The woman left angrily. Another plump, plain-looking auntie squeezed her way in. "Young man, marry me, and I'll have my granddaughter take care of you in your old age." "What the hell? You already have a granddaughter. What are you getting involved for?" Li Hongliang deliberately started gasping for breath. His accent even changed. "I have AIDS," he thought. He'd already used his ultimate almighty push move. That should have scattered everyone and left no one in sight, right? Unexpectedly, a woman who looked like Voldemort saw him and acted as if she'd found a long-lost relative. "Hello, fellow patient. Why don't we team up and live our lives together?" They found a restaurant. They got a private room. Bai Zhenyao got straight to the point. "I can accept all the conditions you've requested. But I have two conditions of my own. First, I must be the main wife. Second, we must have a trial marriage." Li Hongliang was stunned. The demands he had made on your behalf really weren't low. Looks like this lady is truly rich. He suddenly felt a bit of regret. Did I ask for too little? A trial marriage? My little brother is 18, fresh as a daisy. How can he just enter into a trial marriage with anyone? Generally speaking, it's always the richer person who gets to be the main wife. Even a latecomer can end up on top. So, Li Hongliang didn't comment on the main wife part. He just had an issue with the trial marriage. "Hey, is your brother a cucumber?" Bai Zhenyao chuckled. Li Hongliang's old face flushed red. "That's the idea. He's a sweet young thing." This trial marriage condition was clearly a well-thought-out request from Bai Zhenyao. She immediately offered a benefit. "As long as you're willing to have a trial marriage, I can give you 500,000 up front. When the trial marriage is over, if my requirements aren't met, I won't take the 500,000 back. You better work hard, little brother, and earn that 500,000 from her." That seems pretty good. If it were Li Hongliang himself, he definitely would have agreed right away. But he's setting you up this time, so he doesn't dare make the decision for you. "Can I ask, why a trial marriage?" Bai Zhenyao let out a soft laugh. Men these days, they don't do any physical work, don't know the first thing about practical matters, and get very little exercise. If I don't have a trial marriage, and only find out he's useless after I marry him, wouldn't I be stuck in a loveless marriage for the rest of my life? That makes sense. Some people just know how to enjoy life. The risks ordinary people have to take, they avoid through careful screening. I need to ask my younger brother about this. I can't give you an answer right away. As you should. I also need to do a background check. If he's not as handsome as he is in his pictures, I won't even give him a chance at a trial marriage. After Li Hongliang left, Bai Zhenyao immediately said to Secretary Zhang, have someone investigate this Su Shang. It'd be best if you could get a few videos of him for me. Director Bai, an investigation is understandable, but why do you need videos? Secretary Zhang didn't quite understand. He's too handsome. I'm afraid his pictures are photoshopped. Being in a high position, Bai Zhenyao had seen plenty of handsome men, but she had never seen one this ridiculously good-looking. It felt unreal. At 7 in the evening, you returned home. You lit a cigarette, feeling unusually calm. Just then, Yi Shuken's voice came from the doorway. You quickly opened the door, only to see her holding 4 dishes and a soup, along with a heaping bowl of rice. You took it and placed it on the table. Just as you were about to pick up your chopsticks, you suddenly noticed something unusual. Why is ninth sister-in-law wearing gloves? Before you could ask, Yi Shuken turned her face away and spoke. I was afraid you'd think I'm dirty. I wore gloves to make all your food. After saying that, she turned to leave. Ninth sister-in-law, what are you talking about? How could I ever find you disgusting? You said, immediately grabbing her to stop her. This had to be cleared up. But to your surprise, she looked at you sorrowfully, her eyes welling with tears. You don't think I'm dirty? Then why do you keep me at arm's length? I know I'm damaged goods. It's normal that you look down on me. Can you please let go of me? Dirty looked down on me. You instantly recalled the moment that morning when Li Hongliang had pushed you towards her. Could it be that she was angry because you had rejected her then? You immediately explained with the utmost sincerity, I have never, ever looked down on you. I pushed you away because you're brother Li's wife. I can't cross that line. You don't mess with a friend's wife. You thought you had made yourself perfectly clear. But Yi Shuken suddenly lifted her head, her eyes filled with confusion. Why can't you cross that line? This question left you completely stunned. Could it be that in this world, you really can mess with a friend's wife? You answered subconsciously, of course not, it would violate customs and etiquette. But to your surprise, Yi Shuken seemed to understand something. She stepped closer and said, you're talking about the etiquette of ancient times. It was like that back then, but not anymore. You have any idea that in order for me to get pregnant, Li Hongliang is even planning to hire outside help? And it costs 100,000 yuan each time. So, it's my fault again? You're a transmigrator, for crying out loud. You don't understand the rules of this world at all. You felt a surge of annoyance. Doesn't everyone else go without children? The thought of her getting close to some outsider made your skin crawl. The food I eat, she makes with her own hands. The clothes I wear, she washes with her own hands. Why should I let some outsider take her? Qin Shang, you are so incredibly slow. The way Yi Shuken looked at you was like she was looking at a complete and utter fool. She suddenly began to list all the family's disasters. Your first and second sisters lost everything in their businesses. Your third and fourth sisters were both laid off. Your fifth and sixth sisters are drowning in family debt. Your seventh and eighth sisters got trapped in the stock market. Even Li Hongliang himself is suffering from organ failure. None of us have been able to have children. Our welfare rating has dropped again and again. The family is about to collapse. Every single word was like a heavy hammer striking your heart. You felt as if you'd been plunged into an ice cave. You never imagined that they were facing such a severe financial crisis. But even so, Li Hongliang still insisted that ninth sister bring you food. He wouldn't even take your money for it. An enormous wave of guilt instantly drowned you. All of this, why didn't you guys tell me? But Yi Shuken just sneered. What good would telling you do? Li Hongliang has too much pride. There's no way he'd ever take anything from you. All he can think about is getting me pregnant as soon as possible. That's the only way to raise the family's welfare rating. As she said this, the bitter resentment in her heart could no longer be contained. Her eyes were blazing. But what about you? You refused. This morning, Li Hongliang begged you so humbly. And you were completely unmoved. You're so noble, so high and mighty. Thump, thump, thump. You felt as if a Gatling gun had just riddled your chest with holes. Looking at her icy stare, you understood in an instant. You had to set things right with her today. If you kept clinging to the morals of your past life, all these years of friendship would be completely destroyed. However, after Yi Shuken finished speaking, she turned and walked away. But when she reached the door, she stopped, her hand frozen on the doorknob. She was giving you a chance. The realization hit you instantly. Filled with remorse, you lunged forward and threw your arms around her. Let go of me. I would rather starve than accept your pity. I hate you. Yi Shuken struggled with all her might, but you just held her tighter. You explained frantically, this isn't pity. In fact, after 1 hour of talking, you two finally came to understand each other. Just then, a series of urgent knocks suddenly sounded at the door. A woman's voice came through. Hello sir, your food delivery is here. Food delivery? You froze. You didn't order any food. And why did that voice sound so familiar? You rest. I'll get it. Outside the door, Yi Shuken had returned to her cheerful, attentive self. Jiyu Qianru was holding a 5090 graphics card and a 9950 X3D CPU. She was jumping with excitement and didn't wait for the door to open completely. She just shouted at the top of her lungs, honey,